Hey everybody, this is Vera Sadler with VLS Coaching and Women in Life Ministries, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of Tuesday Talk Live. Thank you. I apologize for just being a few minutes late, but you know how technical and how technology is. But I am here tonight for another exciting episode of the program, and I am here with my friend, a friend I met probably almost a year ago now. It's
Yes.
been almost a year, probably about 8, 9 months ago, but had just an exciting time when I met this awesome young lady. And I wanted to bring her on so she can just share with you because so many times we think we're stuck in a rut and we think we have no hope. We feel like we're just stagnant and have nowhere to go. So, Miss London Howard is going to come and she's going to share with us tonight about how you can move from corporate and being at the corporate desk to entrepreneurship. And London, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Tuesday Talk Live. And I want you to take just a moment to introduce yourself to our guests and then share a little bit about where you hail from. And then after that, we're going to get right into a great conversation about you, about where you are in your walk with this entrepreneurship, and then also about your awesome book and how people can really connect with you. But I think this is going to be a great conversation because, again, like I said, there are a lot of people who think, oh my gosh, I'm stuck, I'm bored, I can't do this anymore. And with this conversation that we're going to have with you, I believe they're going to see there's a way out. There's
Yeah,
hope. There's a light actually at the end of the tunnel, right?
there
So
is.
give
Yes.
us give us a little bit about yourself, Miss London. And the name itself just speaks volumes, and that beautiful smile you have.
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
excited to be sharing with you tonight.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Vera, for having me. I am London Howard. I live in Las Vegas, so Health in Las Vegas, Nevada. Born and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for all my family out there, friends. And, right now I went from the corporate desk to the entrepreneur desk. And um, about myself is right now doing photography full time. So I'm doing photography full time, but there's a story behind that. And, we can jump right in from
Yeah,
there.
jump right in and tell us a story behind it because guys, I would say, I've had my pictures taken by people and I've been like, oh, you maybe you shouldn't be doing it. But London, I have seen your photos and you are an amazing photographer. I will say that your photos are just so anybody in the Las Vegas area, I told her I want to fly all the way to Vegas just to remember I was saying I said
Come
I
on.
need to come to Vegas to have a photo shoot and I'm gonna book that because you're an amazing photographer. But tell us a little bit about your story.
Absolutely. So, it's story. I've been doing photography again for over 20 years professionally. I was a sole proprietor, then I went LLC, and so I am incorporated full time. Took the leap there and made sure to get all the professionals in place. But prior to that, um, my love for photography started when in a grade school. Grade school
Wow.
was right when my mother had gave me a disposable camera, and I went just excited on school trips and just really having wanted to capture those moments of my elementary school buddies. From there, just evolved, and my love for photography continued, and really just taking it seriously. And going into school, I was able to put myself through college, and I took some courses. And whether it was lighting and posing and beginners, intermediate, and you just keep on growing with photography.
Mhm.
It continued to grow from there, just really family and friends believing in me, and then me growing the confidence to really do this full time and reach out to others that may want my services, and became clients and businesses and organizations. And I've been doing sports for 7 years as of late, but it really took a turn where I was like, okay, I want to do this full time prior to COVID. And when COVID hit, uh, photographers in a lot of the service industry became non-essential workers. And that's where the non-essential, you're like, oh, am I
Mhm.
stuck in this rut? You see that there's light in the tunnel. I'm growing my business. It's flourishing and I'm ready to take this leap. Then COVID puts us on this back burner and really
Mhm.
have to think about now what's next. what's next for
Yes.
me? Do I want to do photography since my clients are, I, I'm not able to do photo shoots. And there were some photographers that was actually doing photo shoots through Zoom. That was not my thing. It's
Wow, that's an interesting concept.
That is a very interesting concept, and I did not grab a hold of that one. And I really just decided to take some as an introspection and say, okay, this is what I want to do? And with me being on pause, I decided to really go back into my career that I was in and want to get licensed in the field that I was in. I was doing brokerage, so facilitating trades and moving money and the customer service aspect of that for advisors. And when that didn't pan out, I was like, I really am not satisfied in the seat.
Mhm.
And the seat itself is because there were multiple
Mhm.
seriously, when the corporate nice, the customer
Yes.
service, customers seem to tend to feel like they have a little bit more, um, uh, should I say, flexibility in their language when it's over the phone. So when I always say when it takes you out of character and someone's not being professional and you have to keep the professional hat on,
Right.
I
You
bring
have to stay in character and you have to stay in a level, but they get to behave any kind of way they want.
yes, bad behavior, advisors, customers. And I was like, I don't have to take that. So that stuck in a rut. It was like, okay, I have to figure this out. And I had to figure this out now because it was going to be on my terms and not their terms.
Oh,
Right.
that's so good right there.
Yeah. So I decided, and it was Good Friday, that last
Wow.
conversation that I had, and I knew that turning point. There was a trigger. So, when you get triggered, it's fight or flight. I was like, I'm going to be at peace with this. I wasn't fighting. I'm not going to fight, but I had to decide. So it was a decision making for me. And I
So
decided,
stop right there before you go on any further because you said some things that I really want to hone in for our guests,
yes,
which was that you were it was like stuck in a rut position.
yeah,
You because what came to mind when you were talking about that is here we and I understand because I've been there. We have to pay the bills. We're building businesses and we're doing things, but in the midst of doing that, we have to pay the bills and we have to live, right?
yeah. It's
But
the
I
safety
thought
net.
about something.
Mhm.
I read something, and I read someone that was talking about how we go to these positions. I'll call them positions because what we really do, our career is what we're passionate about. What you're doing with the photography, what I do with the coaching, and you even coaching people to move from corporate to, personal
Entrepreneur,
entrepreneurship.
yeah, yeah.
But you have these individuals that can say one word and they can make one move and they have the flexibility to control everything that happens with us, right? And so we're
Feels
sitting
like
there
that.
and we're being dictated to by all this external, but you weren't happy. And our emotions get flared up and we have to take all this, but it's not what we're passionate about. And I'm not telling people to go off, and neither are you, go just quit your job without being responsible.
Right.
But I do hear you saying you had to make a decision and move
Yeah.
toward it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's one thing is you could be in a position and you can be absolutely grow into the position, get into promotions. Um, the golden handcuffs are lovely because you're being thrown everything.
Love the term golden.
Now you have all your vacation time, you're getting equity adjustments, you're getting your raises annually, just enough to see if okay, I can do another year. So it was interesting. My 5 years, I was like, okay, 7 years. 7 years turned to 10 years, and I was 11 years in. So it's just that comfort, knowing that I don't have to work as hard as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, work as hard as in corporate America as I do as an entrepreneur. And at any time I did not want to take a client or, I was able to be like, it's something that I don't have to take a client, because I have the money already coming in. Or I'm not relying on only my photography. So it was something that I was comfortable saying, I'm okay with just being comfortable with staying in corporate America, but just doing enough to still keep my presence in photography and building my business. But not really ready to leap yet. Right? So when that happened, I was like, it didn't really take, I really had to really think, do I want my next 5 years to look like the last 5 years? And the answer was no. And that was a question I had to ask myself. I wanted my next five
Wow.
years to be my next best 5 years. And I wanted a smile on my face doing it.
What okay, so what questions are we asking ourselves when we're in corporate America and we're working? Because what we do see happening when a lot of people don't ask themselves that question, and I'm bouncing this off of you. We have people who go in every day, they're frustrated, they're tired, then they come home because they're not asking themselves these questions that you had to ask yourself, and I have to ask myself. Then the family also still suffers, I believe, because we have the family that is the victim of the stress, the frustration, the person not being happy, and so the either the spouse, sometimes the children suffer because you're tied to something that you really aren't passionate or you have no desire. And I love where you say the golden handcuffs. But what questions are we asking ourselves? And we're not saying for those of you who are hopping on, going to hop on mid conversation, we're talking about you, a person going from what you are doing to what you should be doing. That's the way I see it, London. That we all have a passion in a life, and I'm so proud that you took the leap of faith. Was there really just, other than that Good Friday moment you said enough, was there things that really built up that caused you to say, I just can't? I mean, I know you loved photography all your life, you said. Um, but was there like seeds planted by anyone? Was there someone in your life that said, girl, you can go do this? You really should own your own business.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I have an amazing support system. But even prior to that, those seeds that were planted were just the seeds that I planted for myself as well, and goals that I set for myself, where it did turn at a point where I was like, I'm going to build up my photography business, and I started doing sports photography. So it was at a point where I was ready to release the corporate job prior to COVID. I was like, oh, I'm
Mm.
putting in the work. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm building my clientele, and I have multiple sources of income coming in. So I don't have to just solely rely on this. I can do this full time. And with me having the portion of the sports that I did have, and knowing that the day hours were committed to my corporate job, I was like, I can then transfer that time and really build up more clientele. So the seeds that were planted were seeds of me wanting more for my future. I wanted freedom.
Mm.
I wanted the peace. I didn't want to be stressed. It's something where we always say that, you know, we're working at a position and it's causing us our health. I didn't want.
Yes.
So
Yes.
me being stressed going to work and then leaving, getting having the opportunity to work with the youth and seeing them playing basketball and soccer and being able to capture their little smiles, that was my opportunity to decompress. Right? I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. So growing up doing it, just my passion for it just continued to grow. And at that point, those seeds were like, I want more. And the more was, I knew I wanted more. I wanted
Mhm,
the
mhm.
freedom to really better myself. The seed was, can I better myself? And the bet was for myself was the next 5 years are not going to look like the last 5 years.
And I love the way you're honing in on that because sometimes we think it's too late.
Mhm.
So sometimes people are saying, well, I've been here. Yes, you may be where you are now, but you did something to move yourself there.
Yeah.
Look, I may be here during the day, but in the evenings, I am going to work and I'm going to do something to grow myself because I know where I have a plan. I have somewhere I want to go. So you said in the evenings you were doing what you need to do to place yourself
Yes.
because you had already had in your mind the next 5 years can't look like this. I can't be stressed out trying to do this when my heart is really here. So you actually positioned yourself, because sometimes people step out. Yes, thank you, Sister Tanya Ware is saying step out in faith. And yes, we have to step out in faith. But I believe even with God telling us to step out in faith, He also tells us to be wise, to count up the cost. And I heard you say multiple streams of income.
Yes.
So you were preparing yourself because you knew. I'm going to keep going back to that. What questions are you asking yourself? Are you looking at the next 5 years? So lots of times, and we've learned this as coaches, we've learned this from our coach that we've gone to. Make a plan, map it out, lay it out. Yes, go out and leap out in faith. But when you leap out, have you laid out a plan? The Bible says a man needs to count up the costs. And so I love that you laid out what you were going to do, and then you went for it. So when you tell us about leaping out there and launching this business, but what before we go there, you said COVID, and I want people to go back, think about this. This young lady was thriving, and COVID said, stop.
Yes.
And so we have to think about, yes, many of us have had to suffer from that,
Right.
and come back. But look at what's happening in your life now.
Yes.
You made the best of a situation, and you didn't just sit there and say, well, it stopped me. You took and you turned that around.
Yeah. Yeah. The pandemic definitely put us all on pause for a while.
Right,
And
right.
then some of us were able to really hone in on the family life and,
Mhm.
love and family and the support system. As for me, I did the same thing, loved my family. Um, I'm in a position where I don't have kids and I'm not married. So being single and being able to have the responsibility of only me, it's a little different for some, right? Because you're not as stressed. So I absolutely understand for parents that are out there and spouses that have others relying on them, family members that they're taking care of. It may look different, but
Yes.
this the my scope of um, my future was able to allow me to see and project on what I wanted it to be with me taking care of myself. Having to scale back on things that I want to do. Vacations. You can't take all the vacations you want. You can't go out to restaurants and eat wherever you want. I love my Whole Foods and I love, so you may have to scale back on some things and buying other items that you have to budget for. So being
Yes.
smart about budgeting, being smart about your investments. When I say multiple streams of income, I worked in the financial industry. So having financial advisors and talking to them all the time, making wise investments for years, for years. This not wasn't just the last 11 years. I've been, investing in whether it's, I'm not going to say exactly what I invest in, but I can do stock options, mutual
Yeah, yeah,
funds,
yeah.
different things that are smart investments that pay dividends. So you're looking for something that is going to
You
have that.
prepared yourself. And I think
Yes,
the
you
key
do.
point that everybody should know is that, and it doesn't matter whether you're married or you're single, but it's preparation, that
Yeah.
you prepared yourself for what you want to do. So talk to us about London Howard Photography. You went from the corporate desk to the entrepreneur desk. And
Yeah.
man, I'm so glad you did. I'm so, because there are many of us that will reap the benefits of your work. Um, for those who haven't, who this is your first time meeting this awesome young lady, I'm going to put her website up there. You can go and you can see some of her photos, but you can go and you can connect with Miss London there. But tell us about launching into this business and just going full speed ahead, and what it has done for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The entire process in just launching my business is really being able to focus, like dedicate to myself. You really have to, those long hours, it's rewarding, but it's work. And
Yes.
when people say, well, entrepreneurship, you're just going, hey, here's all the fruits of all your labor. Well, you got to put some labor in. So It's 3 o'clock in the morning working. So I am
Yes.
up working, and my hours it ranges. I can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, won't go to sleep until maybe midnight or 1 or 3 o'clock, depending on when I wake up in the morning.
So answer that. So you said it's labor. So
Labor of
so
love.
those who exactly, so those who want to go into entrepreneurship, it's they want to be free from the tie to the corporate desk, but it's not where you don't have to work hard at doing this. Because I
Right.
really want you to get to that piece about, because I know that when you do this, it's a lot of work, right?
Yes, it is. It's
And you have a book that's called Full Bloom. Tell us about the book, because I think a 90-day transformational journey of growth and fulfillment.
yeah.
So, but tell our listeners about this work, this labor of love, because I think some people think, oh, she works for herself, she quit a corporate desk, and now life is just happy. It's not that simple, is it?
It's not. It's not. And I think this is where our journey actually started connecting, because
Yes.
after I took my lead and deciding it was April 7th, 2023, it will be 1 year coming up. I really had to decide what is my next 30 days going to look, or 90 days going to look like. And that's where Full Bloom came into perspective. I was like, see, got a mentor, started really focusing on what I wanted to do with my photography and with my career, and what is that going to look like building my clientele. But the leap was being able to stay focused and hit the ground running. There's not enough, you think you're gonna rest, like, oh, I'm gonna do. You don't have time to rest. Every second is essential for your success, and everything that you're learning, whether you're on Instagram, whether you are doing Udemy,
Hmm.
whether you're doing YouTube University, you have to go out there and figure out what is going to make you sustainable, building clientele, building my presence back up, advertising, creating new innovative ways to really have people get introduced to me. Because, yes, I was a photographer and I was doing it for 20 years, but truth be told, I wasn't doing it full time. I
Hmm.
was in corporate America full time and doing part time photography. So when people say, "Oh, you're a photographer," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm there." But now I know why, because the work, they don't see the work. Like, it's so true, and it rings for a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, that they really don't utilize social media because they're busy working. So when you don't see owners,
Wow.
business owners online with their presence, is because they have clients and we're working. We don't
Yes.
have time to post, but
Right.
to find that healthy balance. And that healthy balance, like we were talking about work life balance in corporate America, but it's also having that work life balance when you're doing as an entrepreneur and you want to make healthy decisions for yourself at this new desk. So you just have a new desk, you have a new perspective. Right now, instead of looking at walls, I'm looking outside at a beautiful blue sky, because I wanted to change that hat. And you really have to focus, be consistent, be committed to yourself, and don't give up. You can't give up on yourself, and that is finding ways to get your name out there and what type of services you offer for your clients to come to you, and they have to see you. So my presence is not only being the favorite photographer, but the go-to photographer here in Las Vegas,
Yes,
and a
I
branding
agree.
photographer, and I'm doing red carpet. So I wanted to do my celebrity photography, and I have been able to be blessed to be have a presence on the red carpet, be able to put myself out there and build my brand, because it is about branding, and branding is not just owning, okay, your skill set and the services you offer. It's everything. You're being authentic, and people can see right through if you're being authentic. It's like,
Okay.
oh, but there's
That
no
is a lot of fluff and
right.
stuff.
That
Not
little
it's not
stuff,
really you.
right?
So you're saying, if this is not really, if you launch into entrepreneurship, if it's really not your lane, and it's not something that you really, it's really not something that you're passionate about, and you're trying to brand it and you're trying to sell it and you're trying to, like you said, get on the red carpet, people are going to know because they're going to be able to sense this is not you. This is something that maybe somebody else's lane that you're trying to mimic.
Or they see that it is you and you're passionate about it. People see through everything. You know, we can see
Wow.
through everything. We know what we portray. We know
Yes.
how we want the world to see us. We know how, you know, and what's true and what's you're passionate about. And I absolutely love photography. I love just being able to take a moment and capturing that and seeing just allowing another person to see the beauty that they have inside them that comes right out in photos, whether that is family, whether that is being with your loved ones, if whether you have an animal or, you know, your four-legged babies. You know, I love the fact that there's passion in the individual. I'm able to capture it, and that's what I love about photography.
When we were at our mentorship meeting and you were taking photos, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not photogenic, and you just had us all, you were just capturing. And even when you posted some photos, I'm like, I didn't know she got that one. I didn't know, but we had such an amazing time. And you could tell that you could see the passion. So you're right, we could see that this is your groove. This is the thing
My
that,
groove.
yeah, it's London. I mean, so, and then the smile that you had, it wasn't even like, you have some people, they come up and they're doing something, and it wasn't even about just photography. For me, meeting you, it was about, this is your life. And like when we're coaching people, so to me, you were coaching those that were around you to grow even in their business through the way you carried yourself. So those who are listening to us, I want you to hear that it's not just about her being a photographer. It was about her even helping those that were around move into another space, because you were showing us life is more than just capture the moment, if I could say it that way.
Yes.
It was like capture the moment, because you were so alive. For those that may have came in when they were coming in the room, you were like, capture the moment. And it wasn't, you were there for the same thing we were, but you caused everyone to come alive. And then we all would start dancing, and you were there
Well, we
with
had a
us. So
good
it was,
time, right? We had a really
yeah,
good
we had
time.
an amazing time. And I never thought that I could even feel that way, to let someone capture those moments.
Mhm.
So I agree that I guess people will see what drives you, and so tell us about the 90-day transformational journey book, because I want the readers, listeners, I'm sorry, to see that. I'm going to put it up there so that they'll know where to get a copy of your book and
Yeah,
be blessed by it.
absolutely. And make sure I can, you can hear me clearly, right? I'm just making sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I can
perfect.
hear you.
So the 90 days, which is Full Bloom, a 90-day transformational journey of growth and fulfillment, was my next 90 days after I left corporate America. And it goes through, it's actually creating a garden. At the very beginning, you're cultivating it, you're fertilizing it, that self-love. So I say that cultivating self-love,
Wow.
you're being able to uproot fear. And,
Wow.
there's 11 chapters, 11 in alignment, but 11 chapters that goes through this entire journey of what I had to go through to really find out at the very end of this garden is I made it. I made it to where I wanted to be, to continue going and growing. It just doesn't stop with 90 days. This is it's my life. So this is a full
Wow.
journey. It's just allowing me to take this little snapshot. And I really would not have been able to create this book if it wasn't for a mentor being able to say, hey, you have a story to share. Someone
Yes.
wants to hear your story and read your story, and you're being selfish by not sharing it. And it really just jump started itself. And I was like, exercising, taking my normal walk. And it was interesting because when we have our master classes and we have our opportunities to share our story and what we want to help other um, individuals with, that's where I was like, oh, I got this, this is so easy. I'm going to take all my master classes and this is the story. And then our mentor was like, nope, that's not what you're
That's not
doing.
it.
You can't do that. And I was like, oh my goodness, now what? because I was ready to write the book, record all the transcribe it and everything. And I was like, where am I at in my life right now?
Mhm.
What's really going on?
Mhm.
What do I want to share that's going to be able to motivate individuals to be able to really find some solid ground, some foundation
Mhm.
where they can start. And I was like, this is it. It's 90 days because it's just 90 days. And it was like, when I said mindset, setting my mind to, be able to move forward, setting goals, and then taking action. And that's exactly what the 90 days was. Prior to that, I was like, okay, my mindset is going to be April 7th, 2023. That's my Good Friday. That was my last day. I knew it because I was able to plan, proper planning. We had to plan for it. So I planned for what my next 5 years is going to look like. Now, 5 years, we know what we want, but doesn't mean it's going to go that way. So there's
Right.
absolutely going to be opportunities like, I didn't plan for that. I didn't plan for a mentor, nor did I plan for a mentor the financial aspect. Now I have to budget that into it. When the different expenses, you have insurance that you have to pay for. There's like so many different things that come up. Now we're in a recession. And it's like there's always something that you may say, okay, there's another excuse for me not to do something. Remember, it was the pandemic. Now we have a recession.
Session. Yes.
Now I'm like, but I still have to continue moving forward. It's
Yes.
going to be something. And I don't know what that something is for whoever's listening to us, but don't give up on your dreams. You can always be able to continue mapping it out, continue setting, we say vision boards, meditation and prayer and affirmation, continue instilling
Yes.
that positive word in you that you want to move forward because you will be able to. And then that one day you're going to have that seed, that spark that says, this is my garden. This is we say mustard seed of faith. You just need that
Yes.
mustard seed because then all of a sudden you're moving forward and then you're taking your own leap. So I'm just gonna,
Yes.
I'm like the next person. I was in it for 22 years. I was in corporate America. One, they released me and I said, not again. I'm going to release them. So I had to release
Oh man,
them.
that's so
And
good. That's so good because I've been released and I know how it
right.
feels and how it can affect you. And you're starting thinking, this person has too much power in my life
Yes.
and I need to be able to take it back. I
Yes.
need to be able to control the narrative more. And
Yes.
then instead of letting other people control the narrative, but you can't do that if you don't plan. I love that you plan. So I have to go back to this 90 days in your garden. Man, I love I have to get the book. I have to get the journey, the journey, the book. I
Absolutely.
don't
Yes.
have it, but I need to get it because when I met you, I don't think it was published at that time, but
No, it
I'm gonna
wasn't.
get it. But what I love about it is that when you started, you said, this is now I'm mapping out. I need to cultivate it. Because I think sometimes, London, we start out and then we just like, we hit a roadblock or we hit an obstacle and that stops us.
Yeah.
But in your garden, you have to till it and you have to
Yeah.
work because sometimes the ground is hard.
Yes.
So when you were saying, I'm thinking about all these analogies. When you go out to plant a field, it's not always prepared for you.
Yeah.
You have to go and you have to do the work and you have to turn over the dirt. You have to and I'm a city girl, so I don't want to be out there doing any of that.
Right.
But I know the process. You have to go out there and you have to do the work. You have to, dig up, unearth all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to have the ground prepared,
Yeah.
then you have to plant some seeds
Yes.
and
Fertilize
you
it.
just can't
Yeah.
stand there and wait and watch for
You gotta
something to
water
come
it.
up. You got
Yes.
to water it. And water may be making those phone calls. The water is those
Yes.
late nights doing preparation and doing an analysis of
Yeah.
who's your audience. You have to, yes, like one of our audience guests just say, get rid of the weeds, which is distractions and negativity. You have to, yes, you have to do all of this. You have to cultivate your garden. And
Yes.
sometimes we want to cultivate somebody else's
That's
and we're
true.
not paying attention to our own garden. So I pray that our readers and our listeners will get this journal, this book,
Yes.
because somebody needs to know. I want to do this, but what are some steps I can take?
Yeah.
Because, we don't always have to reinvent the wheel.
No, you don't. You don't have to
We need to
reinvent the wheel.
and I did a post a couple of weeks ago and said, what are some ways to immediately gain some progression? Come
Hmm.
alongside someone who has done it. Let them get a book like your 90-day transformational journey. That is a way to gain some success because someone has already done the work, and let them help you do the work. So I'm so excited about this book and about what people can learn, that just because I'm a visual person. So I'm listening to, I'm hearing you, but I'm visualizing this garden. And when you said I did the work, cultivated, going and growing, and immediately I can just see in my mind is popping up a bud. There it is, finally a bud. But
Yeah.
just because you see one bud doesn't mean you stop, right?
You don't stop. You don't stop. That you have to continue growing because that could be that one client, right?
Yes.
I was one client. Look, but you got to
Yes,
continue going, rinse and repeat, get stronger and
exactly.
learn, and that's what it's about. Entrepreneurship and just going into business for yourself and do anything worth doing is doing it well and putting your all into it. And I'm putting my all into it. It's
Yes.
work. It's absolutely work, and I just want to really let people know that it's not for the faint of heart. Like you may get frustrated, you may decide that you want to rest, but if you do happen to rest, get back, continue moving forward. Don't stop because your breakthrough is just around the corner. We always talk about breakthroughs. Everybody wants breakthrough. Get your breakthrough. Your breakthrough is could be just like, wow, this is a new perspective. Oh, I was doing it. I'm doing it correctly. I am doing it correctly. I got my one client, or now my presence is growing. Whatever it is, celebrate those milestones
Oh,
because we
yes,
have
that's
to
so good.
celebrate ourselves. And sometimes
Yes.
we don't, and love on ourselves and talk to ourselves. It's really me not looking for, because people don't see the blood, sweat, and tears in your own house. They see the victory at the end. They see the celebration, like, oh, this is so beautiful. It is absolutely, but it took work.
Yes.
It took work. So absolutely, this garden is my garden, but you can absolutely have your own garden. And I have plenty of different guides throughout the book that will help you go through, deciding when it should you leap. Have you asked the right questions? So the questions are
Mhm.
in the book. When it comes to you being able to not only talk about self-love, the meditation aspect of it, and really aligning yourself and what you need to release those doubts and those fears and all the extra stresses that you're holding on to. We talk about that. So it's absolutely a self-reflection book along with the transformation journey of my own. So it is
Yeah.
an
So
absolute, it's a guide.
tell us, what was the one biggest thing you had to let go of in order to make your leap?
I put in, it's uprooting fear.
Okay.
Fear of failure, fear
Hmm.
of not being able to get the clients that I want, fear of not being able to have photography services that people wanted, because there's so many photographers out there. What makes me different? Well, what makes me different is I'm me, right?
Wow. So powerful. That's so
So
powerful.
that's what it was, and not having to those the and when I say the golden handcuffs, it's so comfortable,
Mm.
right? It's the it's knowing that, oh, the false sense of security. That's what we say, right? Because that's what it is. Because they can let you go in corporate America in
At will.
same day,
Yes.
right?
Without a reason. You don't have
Without
to
a
have a reason. They're
reason.
at will.
And we think that our paycheck's going to be there every 2 weeks or whatever, whenever your frequency is you get paid. One of your checks not there, and you worked all week, and you're relying on that. It's
Mhm.
a false sense of security that is going to be there. It may not, it may be there. Who knows? But at the end of the day, being able to not have that fear of I may not have a paycheck right now, but I'm doing everything to build up my financial freedom and
Yes.
the wealth that I want. And I'm going to put
Yes.
everything that I have for the next, I keep saying 5 years, like 5 years is the turning point. I want to get to my 5 years because I know that I don't want the last 5 years. I would always say that I didn't want the last 5 years of me saying I'm going to better myself and not doing it. So now I'm betting on myself and I'm looking
Yes.
forward.
And I'm right there with you because the position I was in before, I was no way. They couldn't pay me to go back to it. It
Right.
was so much stress. Out of all the places I had been employed all my life, I had never took FMLA. I had to because of the stress. And
Yeah.
that's when you know, okay, enough's enough. You
Yeah.
have to start looking out, like you said, self-care. And I love how you said when you not only get rid of the fear that I can't, because I think we have that imposter syndrome. We
Mhm.
talk about it all the time, but it's so real. And a lot of us don't want to address because we don't think it's us, but it is because we see other people and we think, well, like you said, there's enough of them doing that, but there's enough work, there's enough people to
Yeah.
help, there's enough things to go around. And that why am I any different? Because I'm me. We're all unique and we're special, our gifts and our talents, and people are drawn to us because of us.
Yes.
And when we learn to, London, I think what you said something, celebrate and practice self-care. I think when by you saying it, when we learn how to do that, we can accept that we're what somebody would want to and be
Yeah.
attracted to. But most of us don't love ourselves enough to think we're worth someone asking, "Hey, can you do this for me?" Well, I want your services. So we don't put ourselves out there. I've had to come into that myself. Like there's hundreds and thousands of coaches who want you to serve them. Well, my voice is worth it.
Yeah.
My story, and we know our mentor, our coach, our mentor says your story is just as important as the millions of stories out there. And
That's
I
right.
thank the Lord every day for the general to giants that she is
Yes.
because she empowered us so much to
Yes.
realize that. But for those listening, I hope you heard London say, you have to know that you are important
That's
and that you can do it. And you have to celebrate the milestones. So you can only eat an elephant, they say, a bite at a time, right?
one bite at a time.
One bite at a time. You can't take the whole piece in. So
Yeah.
when we take the one bite at a time, be excited. I got that through. I made that progress. And so getting through the fear, once you got through that, I know there's other struggles, right? In business, being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, there is. There's absolutely struggles, but that's struggles in life in general. That's,
Exactly.
but it's what do you do with those opportunities? Because I count them all as opportunities because it's not something that I cannot get through.
Yes.
And we are, and this shall pass too. And it does.
Yes.
And then when it does, you're like, that wasn't that bad. What was it? Oh my goodness. You look back, you're like, okay, that, whoo, thank goodness it's past. Thank goodness.
Okay, I'm through that one.
But it is. It is. The struggles. I would say, if, we have to put something on it. Um,
Mhm.
it would be really being able to get your foot in the door, being able to have your name. Um, Someone give you the opportunity, right? I remember doing photography and offering free photography services to these different dance clubs and gymnastics and wanting to do sports photography, but everyone had sports photographers, or they said they already had a resident photographer or a parent was a photographer, or they don't want me to photograph their team because they're going to use their cell phones, right? Or they didn't find value in it. However, I know what I deliver. I know the
Mhm.
services I provide. And when I want you to have the best image ever and also the work, that's what I deliver. I'm not giving you a snapshot from a cell phone and then being able to, then print it. I'm taking time to edit it, personalize it, put some love on it, and deliver
Mhm.
it to you, hand deliver it to you. This is me from beginning to end. And that's, it's the opportunity to have people believe in my services before they
Yes,
actually receive the
yes,
services. But it grows. I now have clients that do believe in me. I have my friends, my support system always cheering me on. So that's never is that goes without. I'm surrounded by love, but you really have to just continue believing in yourself. Keep yourself protected. Protect your mind. Stop the self talk. Empower yourself with
yes,
empowering words that's going to encourage you and keep you moving forward, because those struggles are just, we always say fear, right? False evidence appearing
evidence
real.
appearing real. Yes,
So if it's just fear, and we say fear and faith can't exist in the same breath. It can't, so
ma'am, it can't.
continue to have the faith and just knowing that you're going to be able, you're going to have that opportunity. I always love the saying, preparation is opportunity. Like luck is preparation meeting opportunity. It is. So
And that's so good. I
yeah.
want you to just hit on before we have to end this. You are going to be part of an event, a women's empowerment conference, because the Lord has blessed you to get your foot there, and you're known, your photography is known. Like you said, you have a great support system, and He's done some things for you. But I love this. You're going to be part of a workplace therapy women's empowerment conference, and you're going to be a panelist there.
Yes.
I don't know. I hope it's okay that I'm mentioning
Yes.
this,
Yes.
because I
Absolutely.
want individuals to know that you're just not puffing smoke about what you talk about. You're doors will begin to open when you do the work. The doors open.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so a doors up. You're going to be a work coming up just the end of this week. The 23rd, I think, is Saturday.
23rd
It's going to
Saturday.
be Saturday. You're going to be a panelist to talk about workplace therapy panelist. Just tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Yeah. So workplace therapy was a women's empowerment conference that is going to be at Lake Las Vegas from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm a vendor and a panelist, so I'll be able to do many branding sessions for the attendees that are there. So reserve your slot today. And then also,
Yes.
when it comes to being a panelist on personal development. So personal
Wow.
development branding is something that you like I share, and you live and breathe your branding. Personal development, we always have opportunity to continue to develop, whether it's reading a book, whether it's going to conferences, whether it's being able to exercise and really get yourself physically fit for your next level. And we're leveling up. It's just take an opportunity to talk about wealth, uh, work-life balance. If you're in corporate America as well and you still need that work-life balance with family, and then really having a healthy scope on yourself and what it takes
Yes.
to be your authentic self. We have one of our workshops. One of the panelists, actually, work speaker. She's going to break down our blood work. So we're
That's awesome.
taking opportunity from beginning to end and really taking a holistic approach of the full picture and business and health. Yeah.
If someone wanted to connect with you to do a branding session, do they go to your website, London?
Yes, they can go to London Howard Photography, and
Oh,
then
not Conversation with
no,
London?
that's fine too. It's a conversation with London. We're going to take the opportunity to just be able to continue the conversation. So
Okay.
we can have that full conversation about full bloom, what it took for my, what the steps that I've taken as well, just go more in depth and continue my master classes. But I also,
I was going to mention that you also host master classes, which help individuals develop, just as like she said, she helps with personal development and different areas. And listen, you don't want to sleep on this young lady. And if you want to, it's London Howard Photography, right?
yes.
I'm going to
So,
post that for those who want to see that as well. If you want to get a glimpse of some of her awesome photography, but if you want to connect with her there, look, I need you to go and connect with this awesome young lady. London, do you have any final remarks you want to give our listeners so that they would just know? You said a lot, because individuals need to know you can grow,
yeah,
you can go. You need to cultivate your garden. It's a journey, but
yeah,
most of all, you need to prepare,
yeah,
because you don't want to stay stuck. You don't want to stay in that place you've been forever and ever. And I'll make this comment and then I'm going to let you close out with your final comments. But I remember my husband made a comment one time. He said that he stayed in a position. He knew he should have shifted, but at a certain moment he didn't. And he stayed there way. He wound up retiring from the job, yes, but he knew when he wound up retiring, it was to the point he had to leave because the stress and the position had gotten to him. Now he owns his own company, of course. He's blessed to own his own business, but at that time when he was working um, in New York City, he stayed way in that one position way too long. You may even be in corporate America and you're in a position, but maybe you need to shift positions. And
Correct.
so just making this transformational journey, having a conversation with the coach. You can have it with London, you can have it with myself, or get someone to help you make a shift if that's
Yeah,
what you need to do. Because it's
absolutely.
important.
It is. And the last thing I would say is just bet on yourself. You have to
Yeah,
bet on yourself, believe in yourself. And that's it. There's, I think we said it all.
yeah. It's
And
awesome.
I thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story. Share some
Yeah.
of my story. There's so much more, right? That snippet that we
That
have in
snippet
our
is
time.
it
But
is it's such a little small time and segment of sharing our life story. And listen, as I said, go get a copy of her book and make sure that you can read it, work it, let it help you. We're here, we share our stories because we know that these stories are bits and pieces. They're only bits and pieces of our life, like London said. They're bits and pieces, but we share. Every guest that I try to bring on has a nugget, has a part, has something to offer. If you haven't gotten a copy of my book, guys, this is a nugget. I always put it up here and I never can get it up here right, but it's called Memoirs of a Survivor. Go get a copy of my book. You can get it on my website at my bookstore. You can get a
perfect.
copy, but that's also, you have a copy of your book there. You can put it up on screen. There you go.
We can
Full
see
bloom.
that.
I can see yours good. I don't know why I think it's a glare from my light,
And
but
it's
get a
probably
copy
my
of the book.
wonderful my screen. But yes, full bloom. And absolutely thank you for supporting. Thank you for
Yeah.
I'll absolutely have to get your book as well. So
Yeah, and we
we'll
need
go
to look,
talk about it.
ladies, guys, her book is not just for women, it's for women and men. Go
Yes.
get a copy of the book, order it. Make sure that you're working through the steps. And the piece that she said, whether you want to admit it or not, many of us are dealing with that part right there, fear. We're dealing with the fear that is holding us back from living to our full potential. And I don't want to live in fear because I know that's not what God has promised me. He has promised me to live a life full of destiny and purpose. London, I thank you so much for being here tonight. It has been such a joy seeing your beautiful smile again. I can't wait to wear in each other's presence, laughing, enjoying each other's company again. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing with our guests tonight on Tuesday Talk Live. Again, this is Vera Sadler with VLS Coaching, London Howard with London Howard Photography, and she's also an author. She's a triple threat, guys. That's what we call an author, a coach, and a speaker.
Yes.
So she is there. Please connect with Miss London Howard, and we'll see you next time on Tuesday Talk Live.
Awesome. Thank you so much.